Here we are on a very dreary, wet, cold day. It's been hammering down with rain, and which it does in the winter, and that's part and parcel of pike fishing. So you've got to embrace it, have the right waterproof clothes, everything like that. It's not so bad. And but the reason we're out today is because you're having a little insight into what I do for Fox Rage. So I think it must be like 9 years now. It's been a long time, and over those years, more and more focus is on testing of tackle. So I do a lot of tackle testing with regards to everything. So before it gets to you, it goes through me, not just me. There's other consultants and Kev Cox, people like that, you know, they're all out on the lures, same as myself, and yeah, we're all testing tackle. So there's lots and lots of things in our fishing we can't show you, just because obviously we could show you something which hasn't passed or whatever. So but there's lots of things which we can show you, and then the next time you see them, they'll be on the shop shelves. And you know, there's our unhooking mat, for example. I had that for a couple of years, and I tested that to the limit, and I've still got the same one now, and it's still going super strong. It's things like that, so things which are going to get kind of used and abused, because that's what happens in fishing and in life. Sometimes, you know, things get chucked in sheds and things like that, and in the loft or whatever. So they've got to be tough and strong, and that's our job, to try and make sure they're as tough and as strong as we possibly can for you, and that they last as well. So we're going to have a look at a few of those things today, and put some into action, hopefully get a fish, and you can see some of the bits and pieces being used. And the next time you see them, they might have had a few tweaks to them, but they will be on the shop shelves. Oh, there we go. Ooh. Nice steady bite. Yep. There we go. Bit shaky, but little fish. These are the 3 1/4 12-foot Elite Pro deadbait rods. More than capable of handling little jacks. And I've had fish to well over 30 pounds on them as well. They've definitely been tested. Come on. Alright, I'm just going to have to move along here a little bit. There we go. There we go. Lovely. I would net it, but I think I know I can. I can net that so there's no treble flying out. Yeah, so both trebles are good inside the mouth, so I can net it safely. Now, I personally don't net them when they've got a treble outside of the mouth, because they will wrap up in the net. Now, the net we're using is rubberized, which massively helps if they do roll in the net. However, it's safer to do it that way. There we go. Voila. Perfect. There we go. Oh, lovely little jack. Out the way and eating. Alright, there we go. So have a look in here. One. Open up, baby. There we go. A nice little one. Get those fins going, get those gills going. Beautiful condition. Look at the pecks and everything, not a mark on it. Lovely fish. Oop, he wants to go. Bolted. Perfect. So I don't do this every time I go pike fishing, I just do it in certain circumstances, and at the moment I want to just try and bring some pike into that area. I never put out whole fish. You don't want loads of fish being dumped into a lake, and there's no point in bringing a massive box like you might do if you're spomming with a load of particle for carp or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just a few bits of chopped fish, because they've got to digest that fish. It's not like a carp where it can have boilies and sweet corn and particle and softened pellets and things like that. The bait can go straight through them and they can get their heads down and munch, and they tend to come in as a group, you know, as a shoal, or even if they're singular. You know, a big old carp can eat a lot of bait. This pike, the last thing I want to do is go and chuck a load of whole dead baits out there, because it's just going to eat them, and then the chances of it picking up my bait are slim. So it's just about a couple of chunks of fish just to get a little bit more scent into that area, and when they do this, there's one fish there and that's mine. It's not about filling it in and putting lots and lots of bait out there and bringing all these pike to the party, because it doesn't work like that. It's just about trying to attract a pike or two with a little bit of chopped fish. So these rods are coming out in different test curves. The ones I've been testing at a 12-foot, 3¼ because I fish on a lot of big waters and a lot of big reservoirs. I need a bit more backbone, potentially bigger fish as well, and also for casting as well. If there's no bait boats if they're not allowed bait boats, obviously I'll cast, and like today, so you can cast a bit further, bigger leads, a bit longer, etc. 2 winters, I've had them for 2 seasons at least it is now. So yeah, I would say they must have literally done hundreds of pike. I'm not saying they're all monster pike I catch, but you know, sometimes I can catch a lot of small pike in a day, depending on the venue and where I'm fishing. So yeah, between all 3 of them, they have had their fair share, and they've had pike to well over 30 pounds as well, so they can definitely deal with bigger fish. They're a little bit different from a carp rod, so they've got a through action, so rather than just having that tip and then progressive, they've just got much more of a through action, so you can load them up on a slow steady cast rather than punching, you know, a slow steady cast out there. And yeah, they're good. I cast out half mackerel, long distances, kind of, you know, tail sections, head sections, and I use bait boats with them, coupled up with no less than a 10,000 size reel. If I'm out on the bigger waters, I'd upgrade them to the 12,000s. Extra strong, these ones are nice olive green, fantastic guides, and they are literally 2 years of use, and they are just as good as when I started with them. Nice cork handles, nice subtle colouring. They're good rods. I've been super happy with them. I don't think there's going to be many changes at all, to be honest. So when these go out live, they're going to be exactly the same as the ones I've been using. So when you're dead baiting on the bank, you hook a fish, you get a fish in, providing it's not got flying trebles, you need to get it in the net. There's different types of nets. A lot of people use our boat nets, big solid round rim around the edge of them, quite a short handle, and they're fantastic. You know, you can use them on the boat or the bank. I for years did exactly that. However, you know, more and more anglers take the roving approach, and they want their gear as compact as they can. So that's when you would come down to a net like this. So you've got a triangular net, so it's plastic coated, so if those hooks do go in or a pike does roll in it, it's much easier to untangle and get that pike safe again, just literally because they're rubber coated. So, you know, that's one unique thing. The second, you can just quickly break it apart. Fish is in the net. You can gather it all up, and you've got your fish in there, and then away you go. So it's nice and safe. And then you've got the fact for transportation, you can just roll it up. I mean, look at that. That will just fit straight into your quiver. You've got the rods in the quiver. You've got your net in the quiver. It's on your shoulder. Unhook your mat onto your rucksack, which we do. That's it. You're just walking and keeping your hands free. So you just got everything stacked onto yourself. So if you don't use a barrow, or you go into those remote places, or you just want to scale down your gear, that is the one. Definitely. So it's pretty grim out there now. We're sheltered away in a forest, but we've got the brollies up. So I'm huddled up under the brollies, and I'm just going to go through a few of the terminal tackle bits that I've been testing over the last year or so. Now, some of them might seem like really subtle little small changes, but once again, it's all those teeny little things which can make the difference. So starting with traces, I'm going to show you a few of the little new bits we've got coming out for the traces. So the easiest way for me to do it is just to make a quick trace up, and then you can see where and how to use those little bits of rig components. So it's a bit like a knotless knot, whipping knot on there. And then first bit, to stop it coming unraveled and twisted, and to blend it in a little bit more, we've got hook cover. So these were originally in black, which is fine, still work. However, these are in the new camo range we've got. So a little bit like the leads we use in the cart range we've got, which we use for piking. They're camo. These are camo. So it's just a little bit of a disguise. It's like blending them in. You know, it's not, oh my god, the pike are going to climb up the lines. It's not about that. It's just about subtle changes and making little subtle differences. So this one would thread on to the trace, wrap it around, and just gently, it's easiest to roll it as you put it on so it doesn't bunch up, and then there, nice. Now, do pike get warier? The bigger they get, the more they get caught, the more pressure they see? Who knows? There's no right or wrong answer, because we've also brought out red hook covers. Okay, so that is the polar opposite. So these are subtle and they blend in, and these are a bit more in your face and they shout out, I'm over here. You know, quite often when we're popping up baits, we're using red polyballs. So red polyballs, red hook covers, is screaming, I'm a bait, I'm over here. I've been fishing alongside friends over the years where I've gone super subtle and this and that, and then they've gone out and they've had big pop-up balls and they've had this and that, and you know, they've gone and had a 30-pound pike. So you know, on its given day, if you had two rods side by side, one subtle, one shouting out, I'm over here, interesting thing to do. And I would probably bet that one would be more productive than the other, but it would depend on so many variables, the conditions, the venue, and all these types of things, but definitely worth doing. Right, so putting them like that is not the best way to test if your rig is strong. Two of these, we sell these, the little hot fox pullers. They're quite handy because you've got wire strip, but you can do all sorts with these little multi-tools there. Wrap the trace round, and then you can pull, and you should not have any slippage or anything giving, because it needs to be safe. That little hook comes down to that bottom hook there, twist it down, and there we go. He's nice on there, not too far apart, You don't want a massive gap, because otherwise you can potentially have a fish hooked down the back of its throat. So I always have it, you imagine a jack. It's good. So crimp the far end, put it with the rig tool, make sure it's super nice and strong. That's definitely strong. And then we have one of the new crimp covers there, which just pushes neatly over the top. And that really is snug on there. So there we go. We've got a nice, strong, safe rig. Should be using mainline braid, which is strong enough to bend these trebles out, which mine definitely is. Crimp cover, hook covers in a really, really subtle camo. Might just fool a wary pike. So, a safe ledgering system for pike fishing, which you have to have for the welfare of the pike, and a lot of venues will insist on it as well. Okay, so at the moment you can see how freely that moves. I used to use the cart version of this, which was just 100% plastic. This one's different because inside you've got the stainless, totally smooth stainless steel ring. Now that will stop any cutting, like, you know, on braid when it's under pressure it can cut into plastic, which you may notice on some run rings. Well, that can't happen on these because they're smooth and they're stainless steel, so it's never going to happen. At the moment it runs totally freely and that lead cannot fall off. Now the clever bit, inside here we pull out the little plug very carefully. Now that lead will just drop out like that. Now what you would then need to do, PVA strips, you can buy them, and I mean a packet lasts you absolutely for ages. I can't remember how many strips are in a packet. With everything I'm describing and talking about, when you check on all the packaging details, it'll tell you all the other little bits of nitty-gritty information which are really also important. So I run that through there. Put it up a little bit neater than that. Now that lead is going nowhere and I can cast out and I can do whatever I want with it. However, it's got that PVA nugget in there. I can use this system all day and I'll never drop that lead. And I might have, you know, 5-10 pike in a day and that lead will never drop off. However, at the end of the day, when I go like that and I pull it, it comes out with a bit of resistance. So if I was reeling in and it's stuck behind a tree, it's going to come out, the trace is going to come back. Or I can trace it, or I can straighten the trebles on the trace if I lose the lead, and then the same snag catches my trace. So super, super safe for the welfare of the pike. And also you don't go losing leads left, right and centre, because they cost money and no one wants to do that. You only want to do it if it saves the life of a pike, which is obviously priceless. Goes down to the buffer bead. We do these in black, but now with the new range we've got them in camo. So we've got camo buffer bead, one of our Camelite leads from the cart range, which I use for piking. That's a 5 ounce. It's a good all-round lead, 4 or 5 ounces, and away we go. A super safe, effective, run ring, resistance free system which will last for a very, very long time. Those run rings will never wear out. Perfect. So if we're looking at terminal gear and end tackle, you've got to have somewhere to store it. Now this trace bin we've designed to be compact, solid, so really strong, because what can happen with rig bins is they can quite often crack and they get pushed in your bag and everything like that, and the last thing you want is them to get squashed and you get your trebles damaged. So open it up, You see, they're solid, but they're not brittle plastic. They're not cracking plastic, if you see what I mean. So they've got a bit of flex to them, but they're really, really strong. Again, 2 years I've had them, 2 years I've been testing. That's 2 years old, bit discoloured, but they're still going well. And then on the top there, you've got vents. So if they get a bit damp, like on a day like today, you can open up the vent at the top and it lets the rig bin breathe. If they get soaking wet, of course, let them dry when you get back home. But short term, open up your vents and that'll take away any mild dampness from them as well. To be honest, I nearly always keep them with vents open, so there's a bit of air. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is enough. You can fit more than 10 traces on there, but I find 10 is just about right. And it's good, it's compact, good solid foam on there. This has been used for a couple of years, like I've said, and it's still going just as good as when they first sent it out to me to test. So once you tied your traces, wrap them up nice and neat, pop them in there, keep your vents open, put it in your bag, you're good to go. So with our new camo range of terminal gear, everything I've spoken about will all be on our website. You can head over to the website, click on anything which you've heard about here, and then have a little look through and look at all the fine details, and then they should be available in your local shop. As you can see, the weather's not got any better. It's absolutely tipping down. But hopefully you've enjoyed seeing some of the new terminal tackle bits we've got coming out. You know, the fantastic rods, the great net, and all of those little rig components there, which all give you a little bit of an edge, a little percentage with regards to your terminal tackle. If you head on over to our website, you'll be able to see on there all the pricing, all the details, how many's per packet, all the different dimensions and things like that. We're going to call it a day because the fishing has died, as it often does for pike when it hammers down with rain. So we're going to wrap up, get going, enjoy your fishing, see you soon.